So here it is, your first look at the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6, Samsung's newly announced foldable tablet smartphone combo, which after getting to spend a couple hours with it the other day, I'm already confident in saying that for the first time, this latest fold, for the most part, has received the Ultra treatment from Samsung considering all of the refinements and upgrades made to this 6th iteration. In this video, I want to share with you what's new and improved on this Fold 6, why it has me so excited, and why I think many prospective Fold buyers or those who have been eager to upgrade have a lot to look forward to, and lastly share whether or not it's worth considering since all of these refinements of course come at a price. And above all else, a thumbs up on this video and a consideration to subscribe would most certainly suffice. Let's get started. Starting with price. At the time of this video and official launch, the Fold 6 retails for $1,900, which is a $100 upcharge over last year's Fold 5, so if you end up having any interest in this device, then definitely consider Samsung's usual pre-order incentives like a free storage upgrade, hefty trade-in values, and most likely some bundle discounts since there are a ton of new products releasing alongside this Fold 6 like the new Galaxy Buds 3 with an all-new AirPods design with some extra flair, the new Galaxy Ring which I also spent a little time with, you can watch that video after this one, and the Galaxy Watch Ultra which I honestly didn't spend a ton of time with yet because I was mainly interested in this Fold 6, so I'll leave links down in the description to Samsung's best deals. Samsung will be offering a couple of colors exclusive to their website, a white and a crafted black with a textured backing, but as far as the standard offerings, we have this pink, navy, and silver shadow, and these all come in the now par for the course configurations of 256 gig, 512 gigabytes, and 1 terabyte storage options, and they are all packed with 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now, what is also par for the course, but in the best way possible, is the reduced weight of this Fold 6. Despite getting a size increase, which I'll get into in a second, the weight has dropped another 14 grams on this Fold from the 253 grams we had on the Fold 5 down to now 239 grams on this Fold 6. We are getting very close to conventional slab smartphone S24 Ultra territory now, which comes in at 232 grams, and it goes without saying that the lighter weight is what I immediately noticed when first getting a hold of this Fold. You may have also noticed by this point that there is definitely an S24 Ultra aesthetic going on here with the, in my opinion, much cleaner looking aluminum sidings and a new squared off design for this phone on both the inner display, which you'll notice received an aspect ratio change while still maintaining a 7.6-inch screen size on paper, and the outer display, which thanks to these adjustments gives us a slightly larger but more importantly much more usable outer display coming in at 6.3 inches now over the Fold 5's 6.2 inches. The spec sheet metrics definitely don't tell the whole story here as the Fold 6 outer screen looks noticeably larger to my eye, and in some of my initial practical testing I can tell that most importantly the typing experience has been drastically improved here. Once you stretch out the keyboard as much as you can to fill up half of the screen, I can confirm that the keyboard is way more usable now, and to those who previously held off from a Fold because of too narrow of a display, this is not of concern anymore in my book, and to those like myself who already appreciated the Fold's more narrow outer screen design for ease of one-handed use, we now have what is in my eyes a best of both worlds situation since the combination of a nimble yet useful outer display whenever you need it, in addition to an expansive inner display being available at a moment's notice, is what has always made the Fold so enjoyable for me over the years. Now, this next improvement, while not necessarily enhancing the usefulness of the Fold, should leave critics and commenters alike less to complain about considering the crease has been noticeably improved on this Fold 6, in the fact that it not only feels much less prominent when running my fingers over it, but arguably more importantly, it is less visually apparent when viewing it at different angles, which is something that has bothered me over the years on all the previous Folds, so I'm glad to at least initially see this cleaned up a bit. Of course, direct sunlight exposure is a whole different story, so stay tuned for my upcoming reviews once I get a chance to really put this Fold to the test. But something else that didn't need much testing for me to notice, and in fact caught me off guard, was how easy it is to open and close this Fold 6. Believe it or not, this is also something that critics would complain about, the Fold supposedly being cumbersome to open in and therefore ruining the whole experience of the device for them. So overall, I feel like Samsung this time around, more than ever, is taking feedback very seriously and putting out the best fold they possibly can, as there is also for the first time an actual dust resistance certification on this 6th Fold, now boasting an IP48 rating for the same very good water resistance we already had, but now offering at least some dust resistance, although this rating does not provide dust proofing, so keep that in mind. However, when closed, you will notice this updated lining, which should alleviate most of the gap concerns people have had with these folds. For the record, the Fold 5 did clean this up last year, but this new outlining beyond the display should provide some additional peace of mind at the very least, and its matte finish is preferred by myself over the glossy finish it's had on all the previous folds, since it should reduce the amount of glare on the edges of your phone when using it outdoors. Now, outside of all these physical refinements, we of course have a healthy dose of new AI features making their way to this fold, but to be completely transparent, I did not personally test out these features in the short time I had with this device so far, so I'm not going to take too much time here to talk about them, but to those who are interested or curious at the very least, there are a host of new features that will be exclusive to this new line of foldables and should trickle their way down to other devices eventually, such as using Smart Select to sketch over an already existing image, like drawing a pair of sunglasses over your dog's face, Portrait Studio, which will generate those AI-looking versions of yourself if that's down your alley, and more interesting to me is adding a 3D live effect to photos in your gallery, sounds kind of interesting, and Chat Assist is getting improvements such as entering a short prompt in your phone to generate multiple sentence replies for you on the fly. Now, every other noteworthy improvement here on this Fold 6, which are worth mentioning but I didn't have a chance to test out yet at the time of this video, in no particular order, include a spec bump with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor now in this Fold to match it with the S24 Ultra from earlier this year. There is now 2600 nits of brightness on both the inner and outer displays, which should make this incredible for outdoor use. There is a 60% larger vapor chamber for better cooling when gaming or doing a lot of things at once. And while the primary and telephoto lenses remain unchanged here with that 50 megapixel primary and 3 times optical telephoto lens with up to 30 times zoom, we now have a nicely upgraded 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, which apparently performs better in low light conditions and can film video in 4K 60 resolution, which is up from just the 1080p 30 frames per second on the Fold 5's ultra wide camera. As far as what's unchanged, the under display camera on the inner screen looks to be about the same. The fingerprint sensor is still in a great location for easily unlocking and getting into both the outer and inner screen. The hinge appears to be the same size when this was something that had been trimming down every generation since the second Fold. Samsung's previous S Pens, the Fold Edition and the newer Slim S Pen, still work on the inner display, but unfortunately they do not work on the outer display. I'm not sure why Samsung is so resistant to the idea of this being a reality on these devices. And what might be a minor nitpick, the Samsung logo is no longer engraved, similar to what we saw for the first time on the Fold 5. I just feel like it takes away some of the premium aesthetic of these Samsung foldables in my eyes. And we still have just 25 watt super fast charging here, not the 45 watts that we have on the S24 Ultra. But aside from a few laundry list items away from what would be a perfect device in my eyes, I think there is still a lot of great refinements going on with this Fold 6, enough to define it as receiving Samsung's Ultra treatment, even though the official naming doesn't suggest it. And overall, Samsung seems to be doing everything they can to assure users are getting their money's worth with some additional offerings this time around, such as their new Galaxy Z Assurance, which promises every buyer a one-time, no questions asked, screen replacement free of charge, even though they rate these devices for up to 200,000 folds or 10 years of average daily use. But that's all I have for now for the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to check out Samsung's pre-order incentives. I'll have those linked below. And thanks so much for watching. Take care.